Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Racecraft TV here for the virtual off-road racing series, the VORRS Pro 2 series here at Crandon International Raceway. I'm Austin. I am joined by Evan Pasoko, and we are here live for another amazing round. Well, actually, the first round of flinging dirt and knowing how to throw a truck sideways, and we're going to throw it off at Crandon.
This is just such a fun track, and I think there's no better place when you talk about the off-road tracks that are on the iRacing surface to get underway than here at Crandon. It is the newest to the sim, and these drivers right now in the qualifying session for what I think is going to be a great format for this race, because right now they got 10 minutes of queue. This thing's wide open. Granted, it does take you a little bit more than a minute to get around this place, but we're not kind of in a box where you've only got 1-2 laps of queue. These guys can go out there, try a couple of different things, get set up for what is notably only a feature race, which is what I find thrilling. You can't really have an okay finish in your heat race or at an LCQ and then say, like, no, I'll have a good start in the main and make up for it. Every single lap, every single quarter that you're going to take in the 12-lap feature a little bit later on tonight going to be critical. So these guys really don't have any mulligans on the table for this opening round.
Yeah, no mulligans indeed. And this is a series that is made by the truck guys who love truck racing, who follow super truck racing all over the place. And we got a few famous names in the field as they continue on in qualifying right now. A few of them: Josh Fox, Williams Esports driver. Anthony Eigenauer drives in the Monster Truck Series as well, as he completely goes off and actually hits a Polaris Razor sign.
That's what we call sponsor activation when you get into the boards. Yeah, and it's not just a who's who of people outside of, the sim racing world. You have Tyler Meninga, who drives the Gravedigger Monster Jam truck, but I mean, these guys are big names in the sim as well. Of course, Fox. How about Cam Peterson? We were kind of joking a little bit earlier that all those drivers going to be aiming for the 48 machine. He was best in practice. He's currently at the top of the board in the qualifying session with his General Tire number 48 machine, so he is looking for a good showing tonight. And it's going to be a great race, and this is just, as you mentioned, round number 1. So these drivers are going to be battling back and forth all season long using the Supercross-styled point system, so it does pay to be first and second more so than everybody else in the field, because first place is going to get 26 points, but it is a 3-point difference back to second, who will get 23. Third place, it's a 2-point gap to 21 points, and then from there on back, it is just single points. So if you're looking to make up spots on people in the points, or at least to get out to an early start first and second, going to give you a little bit extra. So we're putting the onus on winning races here if you want to be the champion when it's all said and done.
I definitely got to win races here as we ride on board of our Racecraft TV drone camera right behind the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot and that Rigid General Tires machine. And this is something that I just love about truck racing. They just love taking everything and taking up to the max. Max craziness, max awesomeness, max tracks, and max camera angles.
That's the best part. We're basically taking the track around, and it's a little bit of a smoother view than what these guys are seeing in the trucks. This angle makes it look very, precise, and looks like that there's a lot of finesse going on, and there is. But when you get all, 13 or 14 of these trucks out there, especially for the land rush start here at Crandon on the get-go, it's going to be absolute chaos. I mean, these things are built not only to get up in the air like this racetrack so nicely does, is it's kind of built into the flows, the ebbs and flows of the hills, but they can take a beating too. So you're going to have guys leaning on each other. Granted, I know the people up in race control would hope this one stays clean for the most part. But listen, these things are made to race side by side and to take a hit. And, a lot of these drivers, in fact, everybody but Brian Prudell has put down a time in quali. And I don't see him out there right now in this qualifying session. So I know he is going to be racing. So I'm going to guess maybe that he's opting to start towards the back. He's outside of the top 10. So that would put him on the second row for that land rush start. But everybody else, they've already got a time in. You're taking a look at Prater there in the 218 truck. But everybody else has got a time. Now they're at that experimental phase where they're seeing, hey, let's see if I can get a little bit extra.
as Josh Edmondson and Cameron Pearson are both racing out of the pit lane, jumping over the Polaris Razor RSR or ZR over that jump record, and they're taking a specialized line to start qualifying. And just to show you on how crazy that these guys get, let's ride on board of Joshua Edmondson. And when I raced UTVs when I was younger, around 17, from 14 to 17, I always wished I could race at Crandon. This track was just so legendary in off-road racing, and especially in the UTV championships that I raced in. And unfortunately, I never got the chance to race her, but when it came on to iRacing, oh man, my dream certainly came true, but these guys take it to another level.
And it's so different. You know, I mentioned the other tracks that are on the iRacing service. I mean, it's totally different, you know, than Wild Horse Pass, which we have from out in Arizona, where it's a very flat racetrack. It's kind of, you know, more so man-made entirely. You know, you also have, you know, Wild Horse and Wild West, where you have that big downhill slope on the front. But again, other than that, you don't really have a lot of the back and forth with the rolling hills. And I think that is what makes this racetrack not only A, so good looking, but also B, so iconic, is how they use, you know, that natural terrain to shape this racetrack. It also means, though, that if you get a little bit off track, the way that this is tightened in there is he'll take that right-hander over and go through the finish line. Means that if you get in trouble, you could be out in a field very quickly. As Edmondson's lap comes to a close, he does improve a 1:19.011. That puts him to second position. Not enough, though, to touch Cam Peterson, the only truck right now down in the 1:18s, as we are down now as qualifying about to end.
That qualifying comes to an end. 10 minutes have gone past, and currently Cameron Peterson, world record holder around here, is sitting up on pole by 700ths of a second. Looking at Zachary Drapkin, I believe he's got his lap in there, and it's just been invalidated as he takes out a little bit of the local foliage.
That's it. I mean, it's easy to get off, and you know, as well as you're going to be hard pressed unless you really mess up, as I think the sim's going to give these guys a little bit more time to finish the active laps that they're on now. So we'll see if Prater, who sits 7th right now, can get a little bit better as he goes by the barn. You know, but you're going to be hard pressed to get some sort of a slowdown penalty unless you're really cutting corners. So just because you end up in the foliage, you're in the weeds, you're out in the field, however you want to say it, doesn't mean you're out. Keep the foot in it, get it back on track, maybe move somebody out of the way and keep on going at it. We should mention as well, you know, these are long laps here around Crandon compared to some of the other tracks, you know, that these kind of trucks race at tonight using the Pro 2s at about that 1:20 range or so. So the 12-lap feature, I was talking about how you don't have an opportunity to kind of, you know, make up for a poor race early. It's just one race. You have to be on it from the get-go. That's not to say that a mistake early takes you completely out of it. That's a healthy race distance or length. You know, we're going to be on track 14 to 15 minutes or so start to finish. Plenty of time to make mistakes, come back. So not to say that it's all on the line at the beginning, but that's certainly going to be critical. At least get yourself out in front and maybe ahead of the chaos may be the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first part of this race, it is a 6-lap sprint. And then at the mid-race, there is going to be a competition caution. It is a locally held competition caution. So these guys are going to finish their lap, and then they're going to do a safety, a driver-led safety car. Then they're going to get going back racing once again. But it's not at the start-finish line. They're going to do it right in front of the grandstands here around that massive banked turn 1. And I think it's time these guys are lining up and getting ready to go for that very famous land rush start. But before we get going there, here is our starting grid for the virtual off-road racing series. Take it away, Evan.
Yeah, well, Cam Peterson, best of them all, so he'll bring us to the green flag this evening, and it'll be Josh Edmondson right alongside in second. Now, the top 10 all side by side on the front row. So Proudfoot, Prater, gaming through the top 5, along with Zachary Drapkin, Josh Fox, Tyson Miller, Kenneth Ashlock, and Tyler Menedga. all alongside each other on the front row. The bottom 5 get a line up behind. That'll be Bodie Cryer in the number 11 position, Anthony Eigenhauer 12th, Keith Jeffrey will roll from 13th. Brian Prudell does opt to skip qualifying. He'll take a provisional 14th, and a bit of a late entry for Gary Green. He will roll from 15th position. So again, top 10 front row, bottom 5 back row. And honestly, I might rather be in the back because these things are going to really choke up when they get going and get off it into that first quarter.
Yeah, these scenes are going to get absolutely wild and out right here. I know if you get onto the actual track on the left side, you might actually have a little bit more grip than everyone starting in the middle because it is a mix of grass and actual dirt used for racing, but it's so bumpy that a land rush start actually feels like a massive land rush start. And I've done a few land rush starts in my life. It was just a bunch of sand getting kicked up in the air, and oh, they get a bit wild, and it's certainly going to get wild here on Racecraft TV as these guys are getting ready to go green. They're all lined up side by side and getting ready to go as we're waiting for Anthony Eigenauer to hop into his truck right now and just get into his spot. He is not going to get into his spot as the 5 red lights are coming on. You can hear the revs going live, and we're going racing. And taking an early lead down to the inside is Cameron Peterson leading out the whole shot ahead of Joshua Edmondson. Looking around the outside, that's Tyler Mangina.
Great move by Tyler. Look at the 23 truck right to the outside of Peterson, but he's going to be wrong way out for this quarter. Contact behind, so Meninga goes to second. Third, temporarily held, as it looks like it's the number 56 truck, a Drapkin, ahead of the chaos. 1, 2, 3, breaking away. Fight for fourth is on. It's Joshua Gaiman in the 17 and the 56 machine behind, so that's where Drapkin falls. A lot of contact between those two. That's where the whole shot's key, as it's Peterson and as well Tyler Meninga leading the way.
It's Matthew Prater getting into the back of Joshua Edmondson as he makes a great move, and Drapkin is almost turning Mason Prater right there.
I mean, that's the key. You got to lean on each other. You can't shy away from it. And, you know, Edmondson into 58. He's going to go way to the inside. There's a lot of contact behind as Ashlock got hit, and he had checked everybody way up. Josh Fox trying to get through. He'll look to the outside of Gary Green. So a lot of fighting going on all throughout the pack. There's a way wide corner for the 22 of Brandon Proudfoot as he sucks it back in.
Yeah, you get to see how much these suspension moves. Looking at Mason Prater right now, Zaffer Draken and Josh Edmondson. Joshua swinging around the outside of turn 1, and that just shows how crazy Crandon can get. You can throw a move around the outside, you can throw a move down the inside, heck, you can throw a move on the jump.
It doesn't matter where, and it's all about position. We saw right off the get-go that Meninga has such a good start. You can see now he's being kept honest by Josh Edmondson, who's kind of settled into the number 3 spot. Some contact behind. That's Drapkin and Gaiman leaning all over each other. But, you know, inside one quarter, likely the outside in the next. And that's why it's so difficult to kind of set up a move at a track like this, is you kind of just have to go for it. You can't be too pretty about making it look nice.
As we're following Brandon Proudfoot, but we're really looking at this battle between Gaiman and Drapkin as these guys are just going side by side and all over each other for 5th place.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, this is where it kind of breaks off just a little bit. Looks like Proudfoot going to look behind and maybe try to see if these two trucks figure it out. Gaiman's going to be on the inside, Drapkin to the outside. You can see he really pitched it into the corner there, enough to get to the inside, but it's going to be the short shifting up top there. Prater around the outside line is able to stay in front, and again, this battle rages on for position number 4 on back. And even up the road now as this quartet of trucks goes at it. Looks like the challenge is on between Josh Edmondson and Tyler Meninga. A little bit of a bobble that time. There's a 23 truck you can see way up against the rail there. That's lost down in P2, so give it to the 58 of Edmondson.
Edmondson got away after that little mistake, and Tyler Meninga has joined that battle for 3 as our drone camera almost got absolutely taken out over that jump.
But the drone stays in it, going to continue to follow these guys around, and I don't know if these mid-pack trucks are going to ever see separation at all tonight. Look at the 22, again, digging. Proudfoot wants to make something happen, and alongside the 17 to Gaiman, but next quarter, Gaiman, the preferred positioning. So, these drivers going to swap back and forth all night long. A bit of a slide job there across the nose. How about that move for Proudfoot? He wants to get up to the field after he lost a ton of spots on the start of this race.
Yeah, lost a ton of spots and a ton of ground when you're starting in the midfield, but close to the right, it's easy to lose a bunch of spots when you're just starting in that gravel, and almost gets a little bit of contact. Does get a little bit of tap and some help on that turn for the 17 as he's trying to make his way to catch up to DraftKings, Prater, and Mangana. And
you saw it going around, just by the way, Gary Green got tagged in that same corner. He had some contact, I believe, with Kenneth Ashlock. So Green spun around. That's why he's so far back, started 9th. But right now he's worrying about a battle with Bodie Cryer for 11th and 12th.
Yeah, he is. And really, this battle for 3rd place. Look at that move down to the inside. Goes Mason Prater on Tyler Mangana. That wave dasher is absolutely quick, and he's dashing across the dirt here at Crandon.
And this is something that Tyler's been working on ever since we saw these off-road trucks come to the service, and he's been working on the same thing in the rallycross side as well. He's really good at getting good laps in, but he needs to work on getting that all the way through, and behind it's Drapkin. He's going to go around. It looks like as well Joshua Gaiman, yep, he's hooked up onto the barriers as well, and 2 of your top 5 trucks taken out of the battle just like that.
Now here's a replay of this incident as our YouTube chat has completely cursed that. Some good clean racing, but it was just an auto mistake. 56 gets into Proudfoot right there, and that 17 car is beached.
Yeah, there was nothing Gaiman could do. He came over that crest of the hill, and when he landed, that truck in front of him was already sideways, drove right into him. Gaiman's night done just like that after he was one of the more impressive guys being aggressive up inside of the top 5 early in this one. So an opportunity to catch your breath maybe for a moment as race leader Cam Peterson still in control, working lap number 4 of 12. His gap atop Josh Edmondson steady at 3.3 seconds, and those two a mile ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, Peterson, we've seen him just dominate the series before, and he's doing it like he always does, up at front, 3 seconds, but he's got one more lap to go before we go into a driver-led competition caution. But the real battle on track is this battle for 5th between Proudfoot, Prudell, and Ashlock.
And they're battling for preferred positioning when this thing gets checked up at halfway with that caution after lap number 6. Again, it's not going to be a huge advantage, 5 versus 6, 6 versus 7, but maybe being in a little bit of a better spot could pay out depending on what chaos ensues when we group everybody back up. And here comes Ashlock looking to the inside. Does he try to go for the undercut here? The outside leaves that bottom wide open. There it is. You can see Ashlock to the inside. He gets in front, but right there, that outside, they just get back to the power sooner, and after getting completely cleared by the 4, Prudel comes right back and passes him, hangs on to 6 for the moment. These two are all over each other.
Yeah, bumper to bumper, nose to nose. Great racing here at Crandon.
Oh, and it's too much. No, Ashlock gave it too much. And when he came over the hill, it was when the 777 landed that Ashlock nearly came down on top of him, spun the 4 truck around.
Yeah, it was extremely close call right there, as you get to see all these guys jumping over the Polaris Razor jump. And I would say someone tested that jump record, but it's a record for a reason. It's very hard to get done.
So as Cam Peterson works lap 6, our competition caution is out. So we will slow things down, hold our positioning, and if you had fun in the first half, yeah, we're still going. The guys at the back are racing to the tail end as they catch up. Everybody wants to be in position, and if you enjoyed the first half, we got a second dose coming up because they are all back together.
Who was that in the back, driving the buggy?
I think that was, no, it's not Gaiman, because Gaiman ended up on the fence. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are missing some body work There's a few of them. I think even further back in this row of trucks, you got more. I think that's Drapkit at the back as well. Doesn't have a front end. So there's a couple of these things that are a little bit, I don't know if they're less or more aerodynamic than how they started. They're lighter.
It definitely is lighter, and that front end of the Terminator Tyson Miller, well, the front end actually looks like a Terminator. Also, it looks like a kind of Zachary Japkin is also driving a Terminator car.
Got a couple of them, and they're hoping that they can make this thing happen in the second half of the race. Listen, we saw Peterson get out in front of the chaos early. Nobody was surprised about that. But Josh Edmondson had pretty good pace. His lap times weren't that far off. If you can keep Cam Peterson honest, maybe get to the inside to make him work in some traffic quickly off of the restart here.
Well, here they go.
Maybe they could really put it to him. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, we're using the actual Crandon real-life rules where they take the green flags here, and that is where they take the green flags, but it's not where they take the checkered.
And it's not the start that Edmondson needed. He's about 3 truck lengths back, and he can throw it in here all he wants. Look at Meninga behind, trying to slide to the inside of Prater, but the 48 machine got the start that he needed. So Peterson's sitting good right now. I think if he can stay mistake-free, it's going to be awfully hard to catch him. And get ready, because these mid-pack trucks going to do some battle.
Yeah, let's go to our drone cam. Following these guys, the top 5 racing for that lead here at Crandon for the Virtual Off-Road Racing Series Pro 2 Truck Series, round 1. And it's Peterson, Edmondson, and Mason Prater, your top 3. Allied Megana, Proudfoot, and Prudell.
Yeah, Josh Fox just behind. 7th. Behind Tim, you got Gary Green, Zachary Drapkin, Bodie Cryer, your top 10. Kenneth Ashlock still on track. Keith Jeffrey, 12th. And the rest of the drivers had a bit of a rough go. Tyson Miller around towards the rear of the field. He'll drop some spots. Gaiman Eigenhauer out of the race from contact earlier in this one. And Prater kind of at the back of this trio up front. Your top 3 trucks trying to pull away from everybody else. Edmondson doing a good job of keeping Peterson at arm's length with a battle that I think is going to be the good one second half here between Meninga and Proudfoot, 4-5. That may be the battle to watch. Of course, all these drivers want to make sure nothing happens, but to maintain position, working lap 7 of 12.
Yeah, Edmondson and Peterson, they have a little bit of friendly rivalry with each other as 2 of the best off-road racers here on iRacing. And they definitely have the pace to show it, already pulling out a gap to Mason Prater behind.
That's the key, is just check out and get away. And don't get wrong, Cam Peterson knows that Josh Edmondson's breathing down his neck. It's not that it's a David versus Goliath situation. Edmondson, you mentioned, one of the best, but I mean, Cam Peterson may be the best with a capital T-H-E, and that's the challenge, is when you didn't get that positioning off of the get-go, you can match his lap time. But if you start by 3 truck lengths off, you're going to stay 3 truck lengths back. You need some more, and that's where Edmondson may start to experiment, take some risks, try to make some moves, get up on the 48 machine. This is such a rhythm-based racetrack as well that you can't really get a little bit too overboard, drive it in too deep into one corner, because you're only going to hurt yourself in the next. And that's why being the predator versus the prey, the driver chasing, not the position I'd want to be in.
Yeah, and you also gotta think about how much dirty your visor is, and you gotta clean these visors. These guys play all by the rules. They take off all the assists, and you have to remove these visors by either pressing a button on a wheel, having a little switch next to you, whatever it's bound to. But you gotta be ripping off those tear-offs no matter what, because it gets extremely dirty behind a car in front of you.
Well, I can attest to that. I mean, as somebody who doesn't do a ton of racing, I did a race in these trucks a couple of weeks back, didn't have that enabled, and after 2 laps of mid-pack, I couldn't see anything on the racetrack. So the only person that doesn't have to worry about that a ton, Cam Peterson, even he's going to be getting some dirt and mud up on the visor, though, keeping that thing clean. And, that split second, if that hotkey is not close to look down from the wheel, could force yourself into a mistake. I mean, you want to be as muscle memory and as in rhythm as possible as to not take away from the focus at hand. 1 and 2, though, now clearly pulling away from Mason Prater. So the 218 truck got a ball on his own. Gilligan's Island in 3rd place. And then a little bit ahead of that battle 4-5. Still nothing happening with Meningoods. Proudfoot is the drone cam going to follow your top 2.
We got our top drone pilot on this one, following Josh Edmondson and Cameron Peterson. And you're going to see on how far Peterson and Edmondson are to each other, and just how fast they're going around these corners as we fly underneath the Polaris Razor sign. Absolutely top drone pilot stuff right here.
Josh Edmondson has a real chance to win this race. He is on him. A couple of laps ago, I thought that Peterson was starting to open it up. We saw them stretch to maybe 6-7 truck lengths. Look at the overhead shot, 2 tops. I mean, he is all over him. And we talked about that these trucks are made to take a bit of a beating. I know that Josh Edmondson would rather just get around Peterson, but if he gets close enough to maybe give that 48 a bit of a nudge, does he take it that far? How bad do you want those 26 points up for grabs for the race win in week 1?
It's all about making an impression on the first race of the series, and Peterson and Edmondson got the series so far on lockdown, but who's going to be taking that first 3-point lead into this season? Is it going to be Peterson or Edmondson, who's closing by half a second? Takes a big jump right there. And you get to see from the overhead view that really upset Edmondson's car.
Yeah, again, he benefits into that corner because he closes the gap, but it hurts him off. It's the same thing when you get down to the hairpin, is that bottom lane is wide open, of course, slicked off a lot, and you feel like you're gaining when you get alongside that guy, but then he'll pull 3-4 truck lengths on you on the exit of the corner, and then it goes to show you, again, you can't overdrive it in. It is about having that balance, and, you know, Edmondson cost himself about a truck length or 2 that time as we ride on board with the 58.
Right on board, Josh Edmondson getting extremely sideways, almost pulling 3 wheels like a stadium super truck, and you're going to see all the dirt flying into your face right here. No windshields.
One of those times, yeah, he's thankful it's in the sim because that's not fun. Bounce it off your helmet as he's right there again. He didn't get tempted with going to the inside, but I think he took a little bit of a swing at him that time. This is the second to last lap, so he's running out of time.
Yeah, and I can tell you when I raced in UTVs and doing some Baja events in Texas, 250 miles behind another car in front of you, kicking up all that dust, you can't see. Your helmet's getting extremely hot, and you have to focus on your tear-off sometimes, and you got to focus on all that dust that's getting flown up into the air.
I mean, we talk about, you know, the differences real world versus sim, and, you know, a lot of it is you see a big dive to the inside for Edmondson there. I mean, a lot of it is, you know, it drives maybe a little bit different. Of course, you don't have the risk of injury, but comfort's a big thing as well. Don't get me wrong. These guys are sweating. They're tense. Their arms are going to be sore after the race. But you do have a lot more freedom as we come to take the white flag one more time around here at the Big House. You do have a little bit more freedom to set your rig up how you want it. Make sure that you're as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, some guys prefer driving like it is in real life. Some prefer taking a little bit more lax approach. And then some of them prefer the full-on deal. And I believe 2 of these guys are in VR.
Yeah, you can run the VR. You can do the multiple monitors. I know a lot of drivers have racing shoes.
Here goes Edmondson!
Here it is to the inside.
Oh, he blocked him!
He went for the slide job, lined it up perfectly, and now Peterson's got to get him back.
What a block by Joshua Edmondson into the hairpin, and Cam Peterson is bump drafted into the trucks as they fly underneath the Red Bull sign. But what a pass by Joshua Edmondson for the lead on the last lap here.
Oh, he's at the wall. He hit the wall, though. It closed in Peterson a little bit. Here comes the number 48 truck. The difference, 1 truck length. Final set of corners. Peterson owes him one. Here they go.
Peterson, Edmondson, going for the record. Last corner, last lap. Who's got the most gift to gab? It's going to be Joshua Edmondson taking round 1.
What a move on the final lap. used the hairpin, went for the undercut, and we talked about how that hurts on exit, but what we didn't say was that slide job, and he parked it right in front of him. Watch it again to the inside. Right there, though, stops it right in front of him. It kills Peterson, brings those trucks down to the same speed, and I promise you, if Cam Peterson had an opportunity to pay it back, he would have. Problem is, there's really only one corner like that on the track. Here's what Cam Peterson saw.
Cam Peterson went wide just regularly. The next thing you know, hello, 58, eat bumper.
And he had to have known that was coming. He could have gone for a defensive line. And like we said, these trucks can take a bit of a hit. He gave it back there, sat on that right rear quarter panel for that final lap, and he just spun it out final turn as he tried to get back down to the inside. That's about as well executed as a dive as you could get. Right there, just parked it on the nose. And once Peterson commits to the quarter, he can't change his line. And I think that's what Josh Edmondson saw. He saw that Peterson went wide, set it up, and he timed it absolutely to the T.
What a absolute bonkers finish and a last lap pass we saw by Joshua Edmondson, who takes the victory here at Crandon International Raceway, followed by Cameron Pearson, Mason Proudner, Tyler Megana, Brandon Proudfoot, Joshua Fox, Gary Green, Beauty Crier, Kenneth Ashlock, Brian Purdell, Tyson Miller, Keith Jeffrey, Zachary Drapkin, and Joshua Gaiman, and Anthony Eigenauer at the end of the field, who I don't even think took the start of the field, but I do believe we have our race winners standing with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your race winner for round one, Joshua Edmondson.
Hey guys.
Josh, what a race that was, and what a last lap.
Yeah, that was nuts. I didn't know if the slide job was going to work. I actually knew he would probably cross under, and I threw it in a little too hard and kind of came to a stop, but it happened to be, right in his line, which worked out for me, obviously.
Did you know that were you always going to be planning on doing that slide job on the last lap, or was it just a spur of the moment type of deal?
That was my plan coming into the last couple laps there. I was trying to get as close as I could because I was kind of outbraking him a little bit into that corner. So I felt like I could maybe make a move there. I didn't honestly know if it was going to stick or not. I figured I would slide job, he would cross me up and just pull away. But like I said, I got kind of lucky. It stopped right in his line there, and was able to just take the spot.
On that opening land rush start, you actually dropped down the field quite a bit. What happened?
On the tires, on the grass, it's really easy to do that on these in these Pro 2s and the grass. It's really slick. And then it's just kind of, a little bit of chaos in there. I got 3 wide with Zach and Joshua in the first lap there, kind of bumped Josh. Sorry about that. But, it's just first lap chaos. That kind of stuff happens. But, yeah, luckily I made it through that pretty well. Had to get around Tyler. And then, yeah, luckily there was competition caution because otherwise Cam was gone.
Well, you take round one and that maximum 26 points. I bet you got to be happy you're getting ready for round two immediately as the championship leader for the virtual off-road racing series and the Pro 2s. But before I let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, just you guys for putting this on. It's cool to be able to go back and watch this. And then guys over at Rocket Racing Setups, I got my setups on there. You can check them out. And yeah, just looking forward to the next round.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh Edmondson, for putting on a great show. And congrats on taking the win. And I believe Evan is standing by with Cameron Peterson.
He was hoping it was victory lane. Instead, it's a P2 this afternoon from Crandon for Cameron Peterson. Cam, congratulations on a good finish. I know you wanted a little bit more out of it. Just walk us through what happened there from behind the wheel for that final lap.
Yeah, the gold medal is always preferred, but no, that move that Josh did on the last lap on that hairpin, that was beautiful. I kind of laughed at myself for kind of braking too early. I should have just drove it around that corner. But yeah, you live and you learn. Josh definitely deserved that one. It was a blast out there, as always, racing with the best Pro 2 drivers on the circuit or on the service. And yeah, I'm still happy to take home second. Podium finish is always a good thing.
Yeah, it keeps you right there as this series is going to continue to roll on and going to have an opportunity to fight for many more checkered flags as this goes on. Obviously, you had about a 3-second advantage going into the competition yellow, but honestly, even a couple of laps after that, you would stretch things out to about 10, 11 truck lengths over Josh. Then he was able to close it back in. Was that just mistakes on your part late, or did you feel like he kind of got forced into taking some more risks and maybe that's how he closed it in?
In the first half of the race, I wanted to just get out ahead as much as I could, and then just use a little less throttle coming out of the corner, because if you can keep those tire temperatures down as much as possible, it's really going to help you on the restart. So as long as I had that gap behind me, I was comfortable, and I just kind of drove practice laps essentially, and just tried to not make any mistakes. So that was the game plan.
23 points coming out of this one. You'll be chasing down Josh as we head into round number 2. All things considered, pretty happy with how this thing got underway.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to watching the race over again. Hoping to, yeah, looking forward to seeing the next race, and yeah, looking for the top of the podium next time for sure.
I know that everybody tuned in got a lot of good looks at that pass for the race win. Hopefully, for your sake, vice versa, next time around, Cam. But thanks for sticking around and chatting with us. Congrats on the P2.
Thanks a lot. I'd like to thank General Tire, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, GSP, XTV Axles, Gibson Performance, and Acronis. Thank you.
Your P2 finisher this afternoon from Crandon International Raceway. It goes to Cameron Peterson, and we'll pass things back down. Austin chatting with our P3 finisher this afternoon. That's the 2AT to Mason Prater.
Yeah, I'm standing by with the wave dasher himself, Mason Prater, and that 218. He came across the line, 3rd place today. Had an amazing showing up front earlier on. Mason, how was that race?
It was pretty crazy. Today was the first day I ever ran the Pro 2 on Crandon, and I got a text about 30 minutes before the race saying that my teammate Zach needed a teammate to be out on the track with them, so I agreed to hop on, and I had a great time. It was a lot of fun, definitely a lot to learn to be able to keep up with Josh and Cameron and all them. But I had a good start, just kept it clean the whole entire race, and eventually just ended up P3.
Well, when you just said it's their first time driving the Pro 2 around Crandon, my jaw actually dropped. Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing. My other friend Connor was supposed to race, but he unfortunately couldn't make it, and I was the next one in line, so I hopped on. We made a quick little 15-minute tune, then made minor adjustments in the practice sessions, and then that's how it went.
Well, you came home on the podium, taking 3rd spot behind Josh Edmondson and Cameron Peterson. Are you hoping to challenge for the championship now that you know you can stay on their pace?
I'm hoping to make the rest of the races, and we'll see what we have. I mean, we found something, and if I put in some practice and devote a lot of my time to this, and maybe we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, congrats on a P3. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my team, Elite Esports. They're always helping me getting fast, and I couldn't have been in this race without them. They're the reason I even got accepted into the league. Sparko, CBR, Irising Short Course, Bill Stein, General Tire, Lucas, PPG, and everybody else.
All right. Well, thank you, Mason, for giving us a great show, and congrats on the P3. I'm going to send it over to Evan, who's going to close us out.
Well, tell you what an exciting way to get this one kicked off. And before we kind of recap this race, I got to say as well, not bad to get Mason Prater as your backup to fill in as he goes to a P3 finish in this one. But I think Cam Peterson's going to look back on this race and kind of look at it as a missed opportunity. Best in practice, best in qualifying. Austin, he starts at the very front. It was his, but it's not like the mid-race yellow was unknown. I mean, he talked about it there post-race. He knew his strategy, wanted to just run some practice laps and then get after it late. And even he admitted, probably should have just driven through that corner, not opened up the door for Josh Edmondson. And not that I don't think he was, underestimating the 58, but I think that move caught him by a bit by surprise. And next time, I think he's going to be a little bit more choked up on it, and he's not going to leave that door open. So I have a real good look that Edmondson, Peterson going to be going back and forth. Kind of all season long in this. Happy to be on the call with you and Racecraft TV and already looking forward to the next time out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next time out as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching here on Racecraft TV. You're watching the virtual off-road racing series for the Pro 2 series here on Racecraft TV. I've been joined by Evan Posoko. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a great night.